G'day, we're Brad and Hayley from our Australia trip. Today's video, we're going to show you how we pack and organise our caravan for travelling around Australia.
That's right, this one is all about storage. So in this episode, we're going to start by showing you how we organise our gear outside the caravan, and then we're going to go inside the caravan and we're going to show you inside our cupboards, give you like our clothing storage tips, show you how we do our kitchen and food storage, bathroom storage. And this is in no means the right way of doing it. It's just how we've found works for us, and hopefully by watching this video it gives you some ideas or little tidbits that you can take away and apply to your caravanning setup.
So our whole living space here is about as big as a bedroom, so there's quite a lot to cram in there. So also in this video we'll share with you the things that are essential that we found that we must take, and also some of the things that we've gotten rid of along the way. So let's jump into it and have a look.
Okay, we're actually going to start inside the caravan because that's probably like the main part of this. So come on inside. We'll show you all the bits and bobs of how we organise our home. Okay, so I wanted to start by something that I think is really important, and that is that all of our cupboards and drawers we have lined with this matting. Now we actually used yoga matting from Kmart. We got like this really thin yoga mat. We found it more cost effective than buying the actual special liner stuff. So as you can see here, we just like, that's how thin it was. We just cut it to the size of each cupboard and drawer, and then it protects it. Like when that stuff rattles, you're not when you take everything out, those cupboards and drawers are still in pristine condition. It also helps grip the stuff better to it because it's like grippy, so that works really well. I did have a look in Kmart and I don't think they sell that particular yoga mat anymore, but they do have this grip liner stuff that looks really good, and I would get that next time. So moving over to our bedroom storage area, we'll start with one of my favorite storage hacks for caravans. We've used these in all three of our caravans that we've had so far, and that's our caravan storage pockets from an awesome Aussie business called Drop Bear Storage. So I love using these for like all those random things that you would normally put in a bedside drawer or cupboard beside your bed. You know, things like sunnies, phone, moisturizer, a book, AirPods. Brad's got his torch in his one for when he shines things at night time. But rather than wasting a whole cupboard or drawer next to your bed, we can just easily use this space here. It's super compact, super efficient, and then it saves space for your actual clothes in this area here. Now these Drop Bear storage pockets actually come in all different colors, so you can get them in like whatever color best suits the colors of your caravan, and they're actually so lovely that they will send you free color samples. So if you're not sure what will best match, you can get them sent out to you, test it in your caravan, and then order the right color. So that's awesome. Now we have the charcoal color because we bought these for our first Peregrine and we had charcoal leather in that one, so this leather back here was charcoal. Then when we moved into Perry 2.0, the storage pockets were still fine, so we thought, why don't we try like unsticking them and then sticking them into new Perry and see if that will still hold up. And yeah, they've been in there for 6 months now and they're holding up so great. They're rock solid on there, and even though we have black leather now, it still looks pretty much the same. Now because we've used Drop Bear storage pockets for years, we reached out to them to let them know that we were doing this episode, and they've kindly created a cool offer for you guys, and that is that anyone who orders storage pockets during the month of April will go in the draw to have their order refunded. So if you're looking at setting up a caravan or enhancing your current caravan storage, I definitely recommend going onto Drop Bear Storage's website. They have so many different storage pocket designs suitable for like all different little parts of your caravan. So have a look on there. We'll put a link on the screen and in the description below, and you could be that lucky person who gets their order refunded during the month of April. Okay, so we have a few tips about clothing, and that is that firstly, less is more. You definitely don't need to bring everything, and if you're finding that there's something in particular that you really need, you can always just buy it along the way. Also, we left like bags and boxes of clothes at home, and then when we found we needed them, like our snow clothes or our work clothes when we stopped and worked, we just got a family to post them out to us, and then we dumped them again like when we didn't need them anymore. It's much easier than carrying all these extra clothing around with you when you're only using them like once or twice a year. Another one is to balance how many clothes you should bring with how often you think that you'll be washing. Now for us personally, we wash every 2 or 3 days, and then maybe like once a fortnight we do a really big multiple loads of washing. I know other people that only stop and wash like once a fortnight, so those people would need enough clothes to last a whole fortnight, whereas we could get away with enough clothes to last like 5 days maybe. So just kind of work out for your setup how often you think you'll be able to wash, and then bring enough clothes to last like that amount of time. So a good thing that we've found for our wardrobe storage is using these like packing cubes rather than just laying out clothes and whatnot on a shelf and them all piling up and then it being hard to find stuff. By having stuff in these sorts of packing cubes and even like storage kind of systems, it helps separate things and you're able to find things easier and also like stack things easier as well. So that's a really good way to utilize space there. Another tip that I've found really helpful is to have like a space in your cupboard for clothes that you're reusing. Anyone who's caravanning will know that you don't really chuck something in the washing just after one wear. Like you wear things multiple times before it goes in the wash. So I like to have like a little section of my cupboard for those clothes that you kind of wear a couple times and then they go in the wash. So that's my little spot down there for that. I also got a bunch of like little storage things from Kmart. They have so many of these sorts of wardrobe organization things that come in all different sizes. So like I find that's really good for warmer, like wintry clothes that I don't wear that much, and I can just kind of shove them at the back. And then I have those reusable clothes I was talking about there. But yeah, they have them in all different sizes, and then it helps, I find, organize those clothes that you chuck at the back of your cupboard that you don't wear as much, and then your clothes that you do wear a lot more are at the front and more accessible. Most of the time you're chasing pleasant weather, so I keep most of like my summery warm clothes there, and then have like a bag of wintry type clothes underneath, and maybe just have like one pair of long pants and one jumper or whatever in the cupboard that's easily accessible, and then the rest of that kind of stuff is under the bed. And then if we do find ourselves in a spot like we're kind of getting into at the moment where it's like continually cold, then I will bring that bag, put that stuff in the cupboard, put my summer stuff back under the bed so that it's out of the way. Now, another amazing storage item that we are lucky enough to have in our zone caravan is the foot locker down here. So just next to your bed, you can use that for like shoe storage. I also use it for like random bags and that kind of thing as well, because it's really accessible. So yeah, I find that a good spot for that. And Brad's got his over that side too. Okay, so now we'll move on to our kitchen and food storage situation, starting with our coffee machine. So many people want to know what we do with the coffee machine while we travel, and we just leave it right here. So we've actually held it down to the bench with magnets that we got from Silwy. I'll try and show you. It's so rock solid on there, but there we go. So you might be able to see underneath there, it's so heavy, the magnets there. So the coffee machine is literally magnetized to those, and it does not move. Like, we've been over rough roads and everything. The only thing we make sure we do is that we take out the thing where the water is before we travel, and we will drain that down the sink, because if we forget to do that, the coffee will kind of drip down out of that. But yeah, once I've done that, and like these sorts of things that are loose just go into the sink caddy. But yeah, that's awesome.
2 hours later.
What did you do, mate?
I really stuffed up.
You got to practice what you preach. We literally filmed a video about packing all this stuff away today, and you didn't pack it away.
That's what happened. We like stopped on the way here to like film this thing, and so I unpacked the stuff that was in the sink caddy to make like it look nice during the video, and then we took off again and I forgot to pack it away. So like this thing usually sits on top of here, and I've walked in and it's fallen off because like it's not it's not stuffed down or anything. We usually put it in the sink caddy.
God.
And the bloody avocados, they're gonna be so bruised. Oh, but it doesn't look like it's
No, it looks pretty
it's
good.
damaged.
That's the first time we've had an incident in a van of things moving. We've always been so careful.
And it's fully like human error. Because they always, literally, these go up here, and whenever we move, they just go straight into the sink caddy. Happy days. Look how empty that is. I should have known. This is what happens when I'm hungry, Brad. It's 3:30. We haven't had lunch. I'm hangry.
3:30. What time do you think it is?
3:30?
It's 4:45.
Oh, see, this isn't even my fault. I'm blaming it on the hunger.
Usually when she's hungry, I look like that smashed pot.
Having a sink caddy or some sort of like bag to put in your sink is so handy because yeah, like just your little items that sit on the bench. I mean, we've got those stuck down, but yeah, little random things, even like if you've made a cup of coffee and you don't want to just do a wash up just for a couple of cups, you can just chuck them in there too. And then it's like not damaging your sink while you're traveling because it's all protected in there. So yeah, we love the sink caddy. That came with our van, but if you don't have a van that comes with one, then just definitely recommend getting some sort of protection in your sink there. So now for where we put things in our cupboards. Now I definitely recommend when you pack your caravan, put things in cupboards based on like the size of the cupboards. So like things that are not that tall in these cupboards, and obviously your bigger items in those bigger cupboards. And of course, how frequently you use things. So like these cupboards over here, we find to use them often I'm leaning over Brad if he's sitting here or whatever, so we try not to have things up there that we use too frequently, whereas our things that we use all the time are in these cupboards here. So that's kind of what plays into mine. We also don't have a pantry, obviously. If you're looking at a zone and you're wanting a pantry, the 21-foot Sojourn has a pantry here, but in our Peregrine we don't have one. So instead our pantry is kind of scattered amongst these cupboards. Again, like it's scattered everywhere based on how frequently we use the stuff and the size of the cupboards. So up here we have a bit of food storage. I like to use these tubs from Kmart for the top shelves. They have that dip there, which is really easy to grab them down, and then I can easily access all that stuff there rather than just chucking that all in there and not being able to like find what I'm looking for. So those tubs from Kmart are great and they perfectly slot in there. Got our pastas there as well, and then like baking goods, flours, sugars, whatnot up there. And then down here we have like rice and stuff. Our plates, I did initially have plates down here somewhere because I wanted all of like those sorts of cutlery, utensil type stuff together, but then I figured out that that was just taking up too much room there where I could have better used the space. So then we put it up there and that works better. And then yeah, here we have like canned goods, all different packets of stuff. You can see like there's still space that is free, and you could optimize that better by making like getting more tubs. But also it's good to have like free space, because say if you're doing a massive 3-week shop like we have many times, if we've been going off grid, you kind of want room to shove a lot of extra grocery items in. So it's good to not, you know, plan out to jam pack your cupboards as well. We also use this cupboard over here for like breakfasty type stuff and sauces, you know, those taller items. Obviously over this side we had built-in shelves, and then over this side it's more open, so the sauces and that go up there. We do also, like, we bought these shelf dividers from Kmart, and they're good to make separation as well and maximize that space. So we have like our Panadol and tablets, that kind of stuff up there, like Brad's supplements and whatever there, and yeah, like breakfasty and sauce items. So that works well, and again, it's not something that we're accessing as much as the stuff over here. By not having an oven, we have our air fryer outside instead. It's given us this whole cupboard here, or this whole drawer, that we use as a pantry as well. So this is like kind of what we fill all those bulky sort of stuff that you buy from the shops, and that like I haven't organize that too much. It's literally just kind of like depends on each shop that we do. All that bulky sort of extra items goes in there, and that works really well too because it's not that heavy, but there's plenty of room for it all. Speaking of heavy items too, obviously you want your really heavy items down low. So we put a lot of canned storage, and we drink oat milk, so that's really heavy. So actually there's no cans in here at the moment, but usually we have like a 30 can carton of Coke there, a carton of beer there, and all of our oat milk as well, and our alcohol. All that kind of stuff goes in this area here, and that's an awesome spot for it because it's down low, it's in the center of the caravan over the axles, so we find that a really good spot for that kind of stuff. We also use this cupboard here for this drawer for spices, because again, that size that it is, that's the perfect spot for them. We can easily see what we're looking for. Yeah, that's good for that. And finally, in terms of food, this cupboard here is kind of like a false cupboard because it's got something to do with the ventilation for the induction. You can still take that off and use it though, but obviously you're not going to put stuff in there that you use a lot because it's got the weird door. So what I use this one for is like, you know, like when you buy stuff when it's on special as extras, so like nuts and mayo and whatnot, basically just like our extra grocery stock that we already have, but this is like for when we run out of stuff. And yeah, again, like we just have random sorts of boxes and whatever to help organize the stuff that's in there. I think we have some spare, like the coffee cleaning stuff at the back as well. So again, just stuff that we're not using a lot, that gets shoved right at the back. Stuff that you use a lot is in the more easier accessible places. This one, again, because it's small and shallow, that has like all of our utensils and that kind of stuff in there because it's nice and small. We also have this one over here is our cup drawer, and again from Kmart. I swear this is not a Kmart ad, but it's just, I find Kmart has so much like storage, organization, and it's so cheap and so many different sizes that's just like, it's a really good go-to. But yeah, I used these little trays to help separate our cups and that in this drawer. So all of our cups, like smoothie things, coffee cups, like they can all just be flat and in that drawer, and that works really well. We have like a lot of these bigger size cupboards, which is great. So this one here, I have like our mixing bowls, our toaster. This is our little baking tray for our air fryer. I find that's a good spot there because the air fryer is outside, so you can really quickly, like it's close by. Also, these sorts of things that are good for like putting hot pans and whatever on to protect your bench. I also find them good for like in this section here. I put that in between the bowls and the cupboard so that the bowl's not rubbing up against the cupboard and like making any marks. So yeah, that's good there. So that's that. And then this big one over here, because our induction cooktops here, I put like our pots and pans here. A good one for a good tip for pots is to get, if you want a few different pots, get ones that stack inside each other. So like that's a pan, that's a lid, that's another like little saucepan style cooker, and then that's a bigger dish that you could cook soups and that in, and they can all stack inside each other so they don't take up too much space. This particular one is from Snow Peak, but yeah, would definitely recommend your pots to be stackable and with a removable handle. That's our removable handle there. So yeah, tall cupboard, tall items like our breadboards, kettle, smoothie maker, yeah. Fridge storage we don't really do anything special with because we have such a massive fridge. We literally don't need to like optimize it. We just chuck our stuff in and there's plenty of space. So that's that. And then as for under the sink, we have like our water pump system under here, like our drinking water pump, so that takes up a bit of room, but I can still use use stuff like chuck the bin bags there. These are our dishwashing sheets, Lucent Globe, they're great and they're really easy to like just fit in spaces, super lightweight. Our foil and that we kind of just jam in there. Again, it's just kind of like finding spots and finding things that will easily fit into those spots. Love the double bin by having like the 2 bins that are a decent size. We're not constantly taking rubbish out. It can take quite a bit before we need to do that. So that's great, keeps it all nice and neat out of the way. And then we also have like another one of those tubs to help organize our random bug stuff and cleaning. Definitely recommend with cleaning that you use a multi-purpose cleaner rather than getting like a glass cleaner and a bench cleaner and a floor cleaner and whatever. Just use a cleaner that can be used for everything so you're not carrying around all different bottles. This cupboard is kind of just where we put all of our random bits and bobs that don't really fit anywhere else and we don't use like a heap. Like for example, like Tupperware containers, our little esky bag. There's some alcohol stuff back there, like spirits that we don't really drink that often, that kind of thing. The thing that is up here that probably shouldn't be is this massive dish rack. Now ideally that would be under the sink and that's where we used to have our dish rack, but then we bought this bloody massive dish rack and that's the only spot that it fits, so that's what's going on. But again, like the benefit of having this Kmart shelf divider thing works so well because then we can really utilize that space and it's not really that hard to pull that out and put it over there. So yeah, that's that. And the massive storage area, of course, that we need to mention is under the bed. So this is mammoth, and also just something to be mindful of is like whatever your caravan weights are, if you have a heavy ball weight, like you don't want to be loading this up heaps, even though it's so easy to do. Luckily in our van, like the zones tear with quite a light ball weight, so they're designed to load up at the front, which is awesome. But yeah, you can see that's just pretty much all the big, massive, bulky stuff. It does look a bit chaotic, but it is organized chaos. Like everything's kind of grouped. Like we've got bags and tubs and even like tubs under tubs to really like, again, we know where everything is. We know which bag or tub it's in. So if you want something, you just kind of have to like undo the Tetris puzzle to get to that thing. I think, yeah, the more that you can group things into its bags and that, the easier that that's going to come to access. We have our TV that we keep under here as well. We've still just kept it in the box. I know you can get bags and that, which would probably work better, but we don't really get it out a heap, so it works fine to just stay in the box and it's all like protected in there like that. And obviously, like, yeah, like we mentioned before, clothing is a good one to put under there, like the clothes that you're not using all the time, because it is a bit annoying to lift the bed up sometimes. So that's a good spot to just chuck those clothes that you only need every now and then. Okay, coming into the bathroom. Now we are lucky that in our bathroom we have so many different storage options, which is great for getting weight at the back of the caravan. Up high you want to keep it nice and light, so we've got like our towels, some toilet paper, those light sort of things. We don't actually carry like extra towels and linen. We thought when we'd set off for our trip that we'd just try carrying like the one set of linen that's currently on our bed and the one set of towels that we use, and we'd see how we go with that. And honestly, after 2.5 years of traveling, I've never had an issue with just having the one set. Obviously we will wash it when it's sunny and we can get it washed and dried in the one day, and then yeah, wash it, hang it out, it dries, put it straight back on the bed and here. So that works great, and it saves us having to lug around extra towels and linen. But if we did do that, would probably put them up there. So coming down here, these cupboards are what we use for each of our like personal toiletry items, and because it's a cupboard, we've used, again, Kmart to the rescue, we've used like these sorts of tubs to put our items in, and they perfectly fit in there. Not only does that help kind of group stuff together, but it's also really good for when your home is constantly moving. You know, the things in the cupboards aren't falling over and rattling around, they're just all in their nice neat box. They stay where they're meant to be, and every time you open the cupboard, the stuff's where you expect it to be. So that's why we use them in like so many different cupboards wherever we can, because it really helps keep things in place as well. You'll see with this cupboard here, it also gives me a little bit of space for those taller items that I don't want in there too. So that's like your everyday kind of stuff. Up here we have like extra toiletries that kind of, I don't know, are not those everyday toiletries. And again, using all these sorts of bags to help group and organize it is a great way of just maximizing the space. And like, I know exactly what's in each bag, so if I want something in particular, I can just grab that bag and get what I need. Our taller items up there as well, that's good. This is where we keep our dirty laundry, so we have like darks, lights. One of those is like pretty often a good amount to put into one load of washing in our 2.5 kilo washing machine, so that's really great. And then this cupboard down here is our diesel hot water system, so we can't actually use that cupboard because that's where our hot water is. And then same thing over here with the Zone caravans. This cupboard here is where the water pumps are, so that's why it's got one of those funny doors on it again. But we can still use this cupboard for, like, we've got a bunch of cleaning supplies in there, composting toilet stuff, like the bricks. We keep them in there because you're not using them that often, so this is a good cupboard to put that stuff in. So that's that. I think the only other thing I'll mention is the shower. It's great to have, got my swimmers drying in there, but it's great to have like these sorts of things that you can put your shower items on, and they suction to the wall. And then, yeah, when you're traveling and that, again, everything's organized and it's not gonna fall off, and it's just easy storage. So these came with our caravan, but if yours didn't, I know that Fusion Lock, you can get them at Bunnings. That's a really good brand. Another storage hack that we find is so handy is using Velcro sticky dots. So like all of these sorts of things here are all held down by Velcro sticky dots, which works amazingly. Like, look how much give is in that, but it's still, the Velcro holds it down fine. So that's great if you want to have those little things on the bench and you don't want to have to pack them away each time. Just use Velcro sticky dots, they work really well. And yeah, I think that wraps up the bathroom. That's all kind of our cupboards. That's pretty much like how we've landed on setting things up after 2.5 years of traveling. We have rearranged things multiple times based on, yeah, what I was saying before, like what we use the most, how accessible it is, that kind of thing. I guess what it would also be helpful to know is things that we have eliminated over the years. So things that I can remember, we had a lot of like utensils, like the wooden spoons and spatulas and all that kind of stuff. We had so much of this stuff, and we just got rid of a bunch of it because we're hardly ever using it. You tend to cook the same sorts of meals when you're on the road. So I'd recommend that if you're setting off on a trip, after like a couple months, have a look at what you're actually not using and just get rid of it, because you don't tend to be too experimental. It's what's easier and easy to clean tends to be the go. Another thing that we eliminated was our soda stream. So we thought that a soda stream would be good so that we didn't have to carry around a heap of cans, and we could just, yeah, make our own soda water, but we never found that we used it enough for how big it was, so we got rid of that. We also used to carry a sleeping bag because, like I said, we only carry one set of bed sheets. We thought a sleeping bag would be good to have in an emergency in case, yeah, that one set wasn't dry or whatever. But again, so much space, never really used it. So we've actually put that away with our swag so that when we don't carry our swag with us, but if we're planning to do a trip where we want the swag, then we can just grab our sleeping bag and use it then, but we don't carry it with us all the time. And another big one as well is we used to carry around like an outdoor table and chair setting. And whilst I think they are so beneficial for traveling families, like when you're homeschooling and you have kids and you're sitting outside, as a couple, we never really used like a outdoor table setting, because if we want to eat outside, we just sit in our chairs and eat from our chairs. And then also with our massive outdoor kitchen table, like that's the only table that we need. We do have a little side table that is perfect to like put your drink on or put a little plate on, but those big bulky table and chair settings, sorry, he was shackering us as he drove past. But yeah, the table and chair settings were just taking up way too much space for us for the amount of time that we used it, so we got rid of that as well. Finally, gear that we added over time and now wouldn't be without, obviously our air fryer. If you haven't got an air fryer already, just get one. It's literally like anything that you can cook in an oven, you can cook in an air fryer, and it takes up less space and it's awesome. So that's a great space saver. The coffee machine, obviously that does take up a lot of space, but that's been such an investment for us. We use the coffee machine multiple times every day. What else did we add? I think we added that sea gear mat that we have outside, so that's really good for like sandy beach camps, or even just if you get to a camp and the ground's a bit dirty, it's nice to have that outside. Makes your campsite feel a bit more nice and put together. And I also mentioned that little side table. We didn't used to have that, but we added that further into our trip, and we use that a lot. It's a great alternative to the big bulky table. Yeah, so that's the inside. That's the bulk of this, but Brad will just quickly run you through the gear that we organise outside as well.
Up the front, we've got our big toolbox. We've got these two little storage areas at the front for wet storage. That's what I like to use it for. So wet muck mat, it's been raining last night, so if it's dry, I'll throw it in the toolbox or in the back of the canopy. But yeah, we just store like dirty things also in here. So like wheel chocks, and yeah, so dirty and wet storage, that's what that's really good for. In this big box, it's really deep, this box, so there's a lot of room in here. The things that I pack in here are the things I want most accessible. So I've got our sea gear mat in case the floor's really dirty or if there's sand or something. So it's like a one-way mat. Sand will sink through it and it won't come back up. So I always keep that at hand. We do carry 2 sets of chairs. So we've got 2 chairs each, which is a little bit overkill, but they're lightweight chairs and they can be used for different things. So they need to be the most accessible because you're always pulling them in and out. It's like one of the first things that I'll do. So the most accessible things at the front and the least accessible at the back. So up the top here, I've got like toolkits, spare parts, different electrical things. I've got spare pumps and spare electrical gear. That's all stored up there out of the way. So when I do need it, once every blue moon, I have it, but I don't really want that stuff to be in the way every day from day to day. So yeah, we've got tables and stuff all sort of squared away in there, Patsy's yoga mat. So all the things that we're using are easily accessible and just neat and tidy in there. Moving along to this storage hatch. This is where we keep our barbecue slides. So on here, we like everything to be super simple and super easy. So we've got our barbecue and our air fryer. These just stay permanently mounted here. They don't go anywhere. And if we want to cook a barbecue on the side of the road, bam, we're into it. It did rain this morning, so I had to clean this down. That's why I've got all rags, microfiber cloths. I go through so many of these, it's not funny, just to keep everything nice and tidy. So in here, we do also have our multi-reel with our Starlink cable. So that's another thing we keep really accessible because it's usually the first thing that goes up. And these little flat reels are really good for especially storing Starlink cables. So we have that poked away in there and it just runs out of that corner. I usually put it up on the front toolbox. So that's pretty much it for this side. We do have a little pole carrier here for like a broom and things like that for washing the van. So that just goes in there. I'm not using that stuff all that often. If we just swing down here a little bit, we've just got like our outdoor kitchen. So a lot of storage out here. It just makes sort of cooking outside a little bit easier. What we found is having different plates, cutlery, and other odds and ends. So we've got like our thermocell that we keep at hand if the mozzies are bad, pegs for doing the washing, and also that's our little Starlink there. How cool's the new Starlink? Size of an A4 piece of paper, but that just sits in there because generally we rock up to camp, I pull this open and the front box open and everything I need to set up is there. Now on the other side, we have got one more storage area. Here we've just got our Sully hoses, so that's just dirty grey water hoses. That's out of sight, out of mind. You could use that as a bin, but I find it works better to get those long hoses out of the way. And this is our other storage hatch. So in here, you can see easily accessible. I've got the water fill up point on this side. So all my water filling up gear is here. I've just got some random car washing stuff and different sprays and chemicals that I have stored away in a couple of milk crates there. And just in here, there's just a gas bottle and a little charcoal cooker. So that's my outside. All right, so there's our caravan packing walkthrough. I would definitely recommend pack lighter rather than heavier. You can always do without things, but if you find that you're thinking about a certain item that you wanted to bring, or you know, you're missing something from home, you can always just go out and buy it or pick it up along the way. So
get it sent to you.
Get it sent out. So yeah, definitely go lighter. You'll it's amazing how much stuff you can live without. So yeah, everything's a bit of a compromise on the road, but with this setup and our sort of packing, we've tried to eliminate as much compromise as possible.
Yeah, so let us know in the comments what you thought about that. Also, people watching this video are probably watching it for ideas, so if you've got other ideas too, drop them in the comments below so that we can get, really share all of that information. Like we said at the start of this video, like, this is by no means the right way to do it, it's just our way of doing it, and that's where you get your ideas from, by looking at how other people are doing it. So definitely drop your ideas in the comments below. Really appreciate you watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.
Thanks guys, bye.